Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Parshas, Behar, Shabbos between Pesach Sheni and Lag Beomar. Motzei Shabbos is Lag Beomar, and so an idea to try to connect it together. The Parsha Behar starts off V'hoy kisavoyos el haaretz. The Alter Rebbe asked the Kutei Torah that it seems like we go straight to Shemitah. As soon as you go into the land, first the land has to rest, and then 6 years you work the land. Seemingly it doesn't make sense. First you come to the land, you work the land, and then the 7th year you start the cycle of the Shemitah. Why do we have to immediately start with the Shemitah as soon as we come into the land? And the Alter Rebbe explains that this is an idea in Chassidus in general, that before a person starts building things, the 6 years, the 6 years of building the land, the 6 days of the week, like it's called Shivas Yimei Binyan, the 7 days of building, or the 6 days of building creation, a person has to have sometimes a perspective. And the perspective comes from when you enter the land and you right away rest. You don't look at your qualities, and you also build strength within yourself. Like the Alter Rebbe says, you find within yourself the Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu, the Avas Hashem, Yiras Hashem, love and fear of God. And only then, it's like a person who goes to daven, and after you daven, you take that energy and you go into the Beis Medrash, you go into the yeshiva and start learning. You start learning the 6 Mishnayos that correspond to the 6 years of the Shemitah. The laws of the Mishnayos that deal with interaction within the world. So the idea is that when a person first comes into the land, you first start off, the first thing you do is you rest. Rest doesn't mean that you don't do anything, but what you're doing is not about building within creation, building within Avodas Hashem, but strengthening within yourself to have the foundation, knowing within yourself, finding the inner bittul. Like the Rebbe said, we spoke many times that the first day the Jewish people entered the Har Sinai, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't say anything. We have to find V'nafshi ka'afel kol tiyah. You find the inner humility, and then psach libi b'sarasecha, open my heart to Torah. And this is also the idea of Pesach Sheni. Pesach Sheni is a tremendous Yom Tov. We know the Rebbe quotes the Zohar many times. It says that on Pesach Sheni there's a light that shines from the first Pesach until Pesach Sheni to the second Pesach, which is a month later, and then the skies open up and there's tremendous light for 7 days, which include in it the days of Lag Beomar. And the idea of Pesach Sheni is an amazing idea, because the idea that you have a second chance, like the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said, is nishtakein farfalin. It's never too late. That a person could always rectify the mistakes. But not only that, the word Pesach means to jump, and the jump is not just that you take 2 jumps. You take a jump either the first Pesach, or you take a jump the second Pesach. But the idea is that in the jump itself, the second jump is a jump from the first jump, and we see that in the idea of Pesach Sheni, that the spectrum of Pesach Sheni starts off that the idea was that there were people that were impure. Why were they impure? Because they were doing Avodas Hashem, they were doing God's work. They were taking out those who were Nadav and Avihu, the 2 sons of Aaron that died in the Mishkan. Or they were the ones who were carrying the ark of Yosef HaTzadik, the message of Yosef HaTzadik, and sometimes they had to get themselves a little dirty in a metaphor, going out to the world and dealing like Yosef HaTzadik went out and dealt with the world, but they were doing holy work. At the same time, the message of Pesach Sheni also includes the person who's on the other side of the spectrum, that didn't come to the first Pesach not because they were doing holy work, because they were impure. They themselves were impure. They themselves were far. And like the previous Rebbe says, Lachem, it was by choice. Nevertheless, it's never too late. And that's the power of the second jump, that you have a spectrum, that there's an elevation. That doesn't make a difference in what situation you are, whether it's for holy reasons or the most impure reasons. Pesach Sheni has such an energy that it could uplift and give anyone an opportunity. And this leads us to Lag Beomar. The Rebbe says in the Sikha we learned today, that Lag Beomar, one of the sources of Lag Beomar in the Torah, it talks about Lavan and Yaakov, that when they met, Yaakov and Yaakov tells Lavan, we have to make a gal. A gal is a heap of stones, and you have to separate me from you. And the Rebbe explains that Lavan was coming to give the last sparks that Yaakov had maybe possibly left in Haran to Yaakov, so Yaakov could refine him. That represents again the person who goes out to the world. But when a person goes out to the world, like we said in the beginning, when you come to the land, you first have to rest. You first have to feel you have to build a foundation of strength. Yaakov said, "Yes, I will engage in you. I will take your sparks." But we have to have a gal. We have to have a separation. There has to be a mechitza. There has to be this heap of stones that says, that even if I'm in the world, and even if I have a job and I'm out there in the world, but there's a separation between me and you. There's a separation from the holiness or from the mundane. And through that, it gives the person the strength. Like it says in Lag Beomar, Gal and Lag is the same thing. That it gives us the strength to go out to the world and grab the last sparks to be able to be ready for the Mashiach, like Rab Shimon Bar Yochai said, "B'hai Sefer Delay," the Sefer, the Zohar, we're going to be redeemed from Golas. But the idea also just a gal, like we've learned many times, that a gal, a heap of stones versus a wall, is that it's a heap of stones that is unorganized. It's a whole bunch of stones just placed. It's not organized stones. We know that stones are words. And in order to build yourself a foundation of strength when you go out to the world, you have to make sure that the words sometimes are not going to be, you're not going to be rationalizing. When you could compromise, when you can't compromise, you take the words, you mix them up and say, don't talk to me. I'm a Kabbalah Solnik. I accept the yoke. I have bittul. What does Hashem want me to do? He needs me to take the last sparks. I'm going to take the last sparks. But not in a way that compromises Torah mitzvahs, not in a way that compromises anything about Yiddishkeit and holiness. When we be zoichet to the coming of Mashiach now and celebrate with Lag Beomar, with the Mashiach, with the Rab Shimon Bar Yochai in Miran, in Yerushalayim HaKodesh, Behar, Good Shabbos.